So, have you just joined us very briefly? Are you going to say hello to everybody? You think you should have had your wash before we started? Nothing changes, does it? You're going to turn around and say hello? Look, there's lots of people have missed seeing you. Yeah. You've just been having a couple of little treats, haven't you? That's why your lips are licking. Yeah. So, as I promised, it's a quick family video this time. So I'm Anne of Rosie Duck Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you've not met us before, this is Ollie. He's known as my director, and I had my trusty cameraman, my husband Jim, behind the scenes doing a fantastic job as usual. We've moved forward a little bit to me just doing some videos all by myself, but I have had a couple of comments about people missing Ollie, so the first bit of this video is just going to feature Ollie and then we're going to just pause it, and then I'm actually going to do some crafting. Right, is that it? Is that the sum total of your visit today? I'll just work round you. Okay, that's fine. So I just wanted to just talk a little bit about the new catalogue, which went live last week. I just wanted to introduce you to the new colours. It's always an exciting time of the introduction of the new colours that stay with us for 2 years. So if you buy the cardstock, it will come without cat hair, but everything in this house has cat hair on it, doesn't it? Excluding the food, I hasten to add.
I never said a word.
On a good day.
On a good day.
On a good day. But hey, if you've got animals, you know where I'm coming from. And we've got Marley as well. We've got the assistant director as well. He doesn't do a lot, do you, Marley? In fact, you've only just got up. Been in bed all morning, haven't you? So, if we can get back to the new colours before people totally lose the plot. So we have Misty Moonlight. We have Magenta Madness. Just Jade. Cinnamon Cider. And BumbleBee. I have to say I particularly love all of these colours. I think sometimes there are times where one or two you're not particularly drawn to, but this year's, which will be with us for the next 2 years, I have to say I love them all. So that makes my life very, I think in some ways it makes it easy, in some ways it makes it hard, because yeah, which one do you choose? So I'm teaming it up with this really pretty set of designer series paper, which is called Flowers for Every Season, and it's a really handy 6x6 pack of paper, and you get 48 sheets. I'm just going to move those out of the way, sorry. I've got used to not working with a cameraman now. So 48 sheets, and in fact you will get 24 designs. So let me show you the designs. These are the floral sides. Perhaps I'll do 6 at a time. So that's one side, and if we flip that over, so you've got some really good background papers here, as well as some very pretty alternative florals going on. So that's one lot. So that's 12 different designs. And then the next 6, almost like shuffling a giant pack of cards, isn't it? You know, snap at any moment. So that's the sides, those sides. So as you can see, there's spring flowers, there's more winter winter flowers. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a whole new season I've just made up there. We've got all sorts of different backgrounds there. We've got some nice stripy ones, and some plain ones. So something for everybody's taste, and they're all going to match really, really well with the new In Colours. So that is a little set of papers that I'm going to use. They are, I'll write it down there, £10.75. So £10.75 for 48 pieces of paper. And your cardstock you can buy in a mixed pack, so 4 of each colour, and that will cost you £8.25. So the card I'm going to make today is going to feature Magenta. I'm just going to check what I'm calling this. Let me just check. I always struggle with remembering what the yeah, it's Magenta Madness. I always struggle to get these new colours in my brain, I have to say. I keep wanting to call cinnamon cider cinnamon crunch for some reason, because it reminds me of toffee, but it's Magenta Madness. So I'm going to be featuring that together with the BumbleBee and with some very vanilla card. What I quite like about this particular set of papers is it really does match very well with both the vanilla, very vanilla cardstock, as well as the Whisper White cardstock. I have to say, I personally tend to use an awful lot of Whisper White and not so much the very vanilla, so it's really good for me to use up my stock of very vanilla. That is always a good thing. So I'm going to do this card on my own, but what I am going to do before you go and before you leave me, you're going to do the ironing, are you? That's good.
I know.
How good is that? I hasten to add, this is probably only because it's not great outside. You can't go and play in the garden. So we're going to, what am I going to do, which way around? I think I'm going to go that way round. So on here I'm going to put a sentiment. Unusually we're not able to order our inks on the pre-order stage, so mine are still winging their way to me. Totally my own fault, because I didn't get my order in on the very day that the catalogue went live, so I don't have the inks that match at the moment. So what I'm going to do is heat emboss my sentiment on here. So if I do that while you're still here, and I'm going to use the Free as a Bird stamp set, and I'm going to use this sentiment from here: your friendship means the world to me. So this is a card I'm making for a friend of mine. Because we're still in that situation where we're not seeing each other as we would like, although it is getting slightly better now. But cards have been a brilliant way of keeping in touch with friends, haven't they? And as well as texts, of course, and phone calls, etc. But a card is something tangible, isn't it, that you can sort of keep looking at and rereading and have it on show, etc., etc. So always a nice thing to do. So I've got a tiny piece of my BumbleBee cardstock here, and I'm just running that over with my embossing buddy. Quite sure what you're doing, Ollie. And I've got my Versamark Pad, and I'm just going to place my stamp in the middle. And then with a piece of spare, or scrap paper rather, just going to shake over the gold embossing powder. And I'm just removing any excess powder that is left on the card. Now your embossing buddy does an excellent job of making sure that powder only sticks where you want it to, but I always have a little paintbrush handy just for those really stubborn bits that sometimes get stuck. So I'm going to give that another shake. Put that to one side while I empty my powder back into the pot. Put the lid on, because we all know how horribly wrong it can all go. And then I'm just going to get my heat tool. Hard to actually see in the light that had all taken, but it has. So I am just going to cut that out with some layering ovals, which I'm very happy to say have carried forward to the new catalogue. And I've gone with these two sizes, so I'm going with the crinkle edged version of the ovals. The smallest one, which I'm hoping is going to fit my sentiment, yes it does, is about 1.25 inches across. And then this one is about 1.5 inches roughly. But obviously it's down to you, whatever size you want to use. You might want a bigger oval, you might actually want to use a punch. And there's lots of really good punches available in the catalogue this year, and in particular there's one that cuts out banners, and effectively you can use 6 different sizes or 3 different sizes of paper in 2 different designs. So I will just show you that in the catalogue just very short, just after I've cut these out. It's about time I put some new plates on here. About your big shop plates tell many stories, don't they? What's the state of that? So I'm just going to run that through, apart from the fact it's upside down. Nothing changes, does it? A new catalogue. But the videos don't get any better. So while I've got this ready, I'm just going to run through the larger piece, and I'm using the Magenta Madness for that. I don't have to be so fussy with that because that's just going to be a plain piece of card cut out. So just making my sandwich up, I'm just running that through. So there's my 2 pieces of cut out card. So as I was saying, I'll just share with you this punch. So on the towards the back of the catalogue, you will find on pages 165 through to 167, you've got all the different punches that are available. So these are brilliant if you're looking for punches that you want to add sentiments to. But there is also, if I can find it, yeah, this lovely labels punch. You can actually, if you can get a close-up of that, but effectively you can cut out 3 different sizes, and there's 2 different choices of the end of the punch, or the actual decorative end of the punch. So you've either got this design or that design. So that is a brilliant punch tool to have if punches are your preference. So, and hopefully we will be featuring that at some point as the year goes by. So I think that's it for now as far as you are concerned, Jim. Thank you very much. I don't know, we've got Marley still in situ. I don't know where Ollie's gone, but anyway, goodbye from Ollie. And we're just going to pause this, and then I will be back to actually put a card together. So I am back to put the card together. I have set the camera up all by myself this time, so I'm really hoping that it's in the right position. Normally my trusted cameraman will do it for me, but as you heard earlier, he was on his way downstairs to do the ironing, so I wasn't about to say, oh hang on a minute, you must set my camera up before you go. So I do hope this is okay. It looks alright from what I could see before I sat down, but so I live in hope. So we're taking our little sentiment that we cut out earlier, and I'm just going to attach that to the larger piece of the Magenta Madness card that we also cut out earlier. And I'm just basically centralising that. So the Bumblebee on top of the Magenta Madness. And I'm just going to add 3 Stampin' dimensionals to that, so it's ready to put on the front of the card when we're ready to finish it. Let's put that somewhere safe. So as I mentioned earlier, a number of these designer series papers within this particular pack of designer series paper works really well with the very vanilla cardstock, which I'm very pleased about that actually, because I've actually got quite a lot of this. There was, I think in the previous, I don't know, I've lost track, but on a catalogue not that long ago there was a particular set of design series paper that I really liked, and it went very well with the very vanilla, but then you kind of move on, and my go-to is Whisper White, or something more dramatic like a black or a dark colour. So it's really good for me to revisit this, because as I say, it's not something I particularly use that often. So as usual, my base card is 6 by 8 scored at 4 on the long side to give me my card base. So I'm just going to burnish that score line with my bone folder. So on a metric measurement for that is 20 by 15 scored at 10. And then I've got a piece of my Magenta Madness, and that is cut at 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, or 9.5 by 14.5. So that's going to be my first layer of the card. And then I've got a piece of designer series paper, and whilst I would normally go at 3.5 by 5.5, I've gone smaller this time. This is 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. So the metric equivalent of that is 8.3 by 13.5. And the reason I've done that is because it will show up the first layer of the card. So the Magenta Madness, it will highlight that more. It will make more of a border of that to really showcase this new colour. So before we put all that together, I just want to add a little bit of design within the centre of the card. I'm not going with a sentiment, as I've got that on the front, but I just wanted a little something inside just to make it a little bit more attractive. And I'm using this little rose stamp from the Gracie's Garden stamp set. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I haven't got the new In Color inks. They are on their way to me. So it's a case of improvisation. If I had them, I would obviously use them, but I don't, so let's go with something else. So I'm using, in place of the Bumblebee, I'm using the Mango Melody, which is a similar colour but slightly darker. It's not a bad match, but what we're going to do is we're going to use this, but we're going to stamp it off. So I've got my stamp already on my block, and I'm using an H block. I'm literally just going to stamp it off once, bone folder out the way, and then I'm just going to put it down the side, making sure I've got it the right way up. Always a good plan. And while I've got the ink, let's decorate the envelope. So again, each time I'm going to stamp off the first layer of the colour, and that brings it back very much more to this bumblebee colour. It's not precise obviously because the bumblebee is a totally separate colour, but it's the best I can do at the moment. And I think it's always good if you have these sort of situations, because it just helps to show you that if you haven't got exactly what you want, there's 99% of the time there is a way around it to get a look that you're trying to achieve. So there we go, that's the envelope prettied up. Let's put the stamp ink pad away, and I'm going to put that to one side. So I'll just show you that before I go to one side with that. Now I'm not going to add Wink of Stella to that, I'm just going to leave it as it is. But I am going to put Wink of Stella in the middle of the card because frankly it's rude not to. And what that will do, that will just pick up a little bit of that colour and it will blend it, so suddenly these roses and the buds actually take on a yellowy hue to them, just make them slightly more interesting. And of course pick up that little bit of shimmer when the card is opened. And we all need a bit of shimmer in our lives, don't we? Any excuse to use Wink of Stella. So that is my just very simple inside of my card, just decorated. So let's move on to the front of the card, and I'm going to stick my designer series paper onto my first layer of card. Now you'll see that I am still using my snail. I love my snail. It's not available anymore, it's been retired and replaced by something very similar, and I'm sure I'm absolutely going to love that new product, but I do like my snail, so when there was the opportunity to stock up on it before the last catalogue retired, I did take that opportunity. So you will be seeing me use snail for the foreseeable future, because I did buy a reasonable amount of it, but I will be embracing the new product. But basically the message is use an adhesive of your choice, whatever you are comfortable with. I mean, for some it is the liquid glue, which is brilliant. It gives you that wiggle room, which you don't get with an adhesive like snail. But if you're like me, I do get in a bit of a mess with that. So wherever possible, I use an adhesive like snail. So there we are. I've just centralised that on the layer of Magenta Madness, and I'm just going to now attach that to the front of the card. So it's a very simple card, and as I said earlier, you can always use, if you've not got a big shot, you can always use a punch to make the sentiment. So very quick and easy to put together, nothing complicated going on here. So I'm just going to centralise that on the front of my card. She might be turning this round. There we go. Just make sure you're happy before you let the complete piece of card fall down. So that's it, very, very simple. And then all we need to do is attach our sentiment to the front of the card. Now obviously that can go wherever you like, go in the middle, down the bottom here. I'm going to just put it slightly off centre, Don't ask me why, I just think that looks quite nice and just a little bit different, so that's what makes every card an individual. I'll just take the backs off. Afraid the nails haven't grown any better, so still cooking, I have to say. I've clearly got out of the ironing today, but I've got cooking to do when I finish this. Sounds like I didn't cook before, but I'm definitely cooking more from scratch, more home cooking, shall we say. Which is good, it's creativity, it's a different sort of creativity. And I've got to be honest, I'm quite enjoying it, so there you go, who knew? Now what I'm going to do here, just to make this a little bit more special, is to add a little bit of Wink of Stella again to the designer series paper. Now if you wanted to, you could literally colour or add Wink of Stella to all of the flowers. I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to pick out just a few of them. It's kind of a less is more thing going on. I have to say this is a very oozing Wink of Stella because it's absolutely brand new. So there is lots and lots of lovely Wink of Stella in here. So this is going to be a nice bright card. But my suggestion would be, if you want to do this, is start with a few of the flowers, or because you can always add. So you've got a couple going on up here. And I will maybe do this one down to this one. And maybe some buds over here. That's my starter. And I've just finished this, I'm just going to pick it up and hold it towards the light and see where else I might like some Wink of Stella showing. So I'm going to put some over here. So as I say, you can just add in however much you want, but by just adding it to some of the flowers, you're just highlighting them and just giving it that hint of shimmer rather than an overall shimmer on the front of the card. So I'm missing some down here, so let's go with this pink one. And I don't think I said, I apologise if I'm repeating myself, but obviously I've gone in the portrait style with this card because the design of the paper lends itself to that. It doesn't work so well sort of as a landscape. I've got no idea what this is looking like on camera, so let's go that way. But to me, it just it speaks to me and says it needs to go this way. So hence that's why I went with the portrait style of card. I'm just going to go with another little bit up here. Getting a bit carried away, you can tell, can't you? Some Wink of Stella in my hand and I can't be trusted. So we'll call it a day at that. So that is basically our finished card. Very, very simple to put together. And I will be back just to share another version of this with you next time. When we sort of looked at the designer series paper earlier, we saw how the sort of flip side, if you like, to the floral designs of the paper really did lend themselves to working as a base, almost like a base card, except there'd be a base paper. So in effect, with just a packet of very vanilla cardstock and a packet of that designer series paper, you could make some really pretty coordinating cards. So I'm just going to come back to share one version of that with you, but I have to say this is a really, really pretty pack of paper, and there's just another couple that I've made. I've used one with the, or made one with the Misty Moonlight, but that's already gone off in the post. So but that will be on my Facebook page at some point. So that is it for now, for today. Everything that I have used you can purchase via my online shop, and the new catalogue, as I say, is now live, and you can download a PDF version of that directly from my blog. It's on the sidebar of my blog, so I will put the link to my blog on the front of this video. So I do think that is everything. I normally end a video and then think, oh no, I should have said whatever, but I think that's it. So I will be back very soon. My director has disappeared totally now, but I hope for those of you that like to see Ollie, that you enjoyed seeing Ollie again today. So if you enjoyed the video, if you would like to give me a thumbs up, I would love that, and also if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would be most grateful for that. In the meantime, do stay safe and well, and I will be back. I think I've probably said this again. I will be back very soon, but until then, do take care. Bye for now.